Hello citizens of time and space. Without further ado, today, August 25th in history, today's event from ancient or medieval history comes from the year 1270 Anno Domini, when on this day King Philip III of France ascended to the throne following the death of his father, King Louis IX in the Eighth Crusade. Upon becoming king, Philip began peace talks with the Sultanate of Egypt, bringing an end to the Eighth Crusade and the Crusades in general. The end of centuries of crusading led European powers to start shifting their attention towards other endeavors, such as consolidating power at home, expanding trade routes, and exploring new lands, which eventually contributed to the Age of Exploration, and the European discovery of the so-called New World beginning in the next century. With the decline of large-scale military expeditions, European states began to engage more in trade and diplomacy with the various nations of the Middle East, fostering cultural and economic exchanges that would shape the course of history in subsequent centuries. European exposure to Arab civilizations' mathematics, philosophy, science, and culture through these interactions played a role in the broader intellectual revival in Europe during the later Middle Ages. Conversely, European innovations in areas such as navigation, shipbuilding, architecture, and early industrial techniques were introduced to the Arab world, contributing to innovation in various industries. Outside of ending the Crusades, Philip III continued the efforts of his father to centralize and strengthen the royal authority in France. He worked to curb the power of regional nobles and assert the authority of the monarchy. This process of centralization and consolidation of power would be continued by his successors, contributing to the eventual development of the strong centralized French monarchy. Philip's reign also saw significant expansion of French territory, which he grew to include several counties, the Duchy of Auvergne, and through a marriage he arranged for his son, the Kingdom of Navarre, influencing subsequent territorial claims and today's national boundaries. Today's event from modern history, meaning for our purposes after the year 1500, comes from the year 1609, when on this day Galileo Galilei first presented his telescope to Venetian lawmakers. Though Galileo was not the first person to invent a telescope, his telescope was significantly more powerful than any other which came before it. With his telescope, Galileo was able to observe celestial bodies in greater detail than ever before. He made groundbreaking discoveries, such as the moons of Jupiter, the phases of Venus, and the irregular surface of Earth's moon. Galileo's observations of the planets and their moons led to the acceptance of the heliocentric understanding of the solar system, which posits that Earth and the other planets revolve around the Sun. Galileo's method of making careful observations, collecting data, and using empirical evidence to draw conclusions set an important precedent for the scientific method. In fact, Albert Einstein has called Galileo the father of modern science, in laying the groundwork for the scientific method through his work with his telescope and his other endeavors. Galileo set the stage for the shaping of modern society and persons. The scientific method allowed for groundbreaking advances in engineering, medicine, and more. Though perhaps even more profoundly is the shift which it brought about in societal conceptions of truth. In ancient and medieval times, truth, as understood by thinkers like the philosopher Plato, meant something like a set of abstract and unchanging ideals which were perceived through reason, but transcended sensory perceptions and revealed ultimate reality and knowledge. To Plato and other ancient thinkers, the physical world was patterned after and influenced by deeper realities which were unseen. In the modern understanding of truth, which is shaped largely by the scientific method and Galileo's other scientific innovations, truth is predominantly understood to mean happenings which can be empirically observed as occurring as events in physical time and space. For example, in modernity, events which are stated to have physically happened are called true stories, while events which are mythical or fictional are not considered to be true stories. In a pre-scientific method understanding, stories which were known to be mythical would not be categorized as true or not, based on their correspondence to observed physical facts, but rather by their correspondence to the ultimate ideals which transcend physical or sensory perception. That was today, August 25th, in history. I hope your day today is brilliant, as we all move forwards, by looking backwards.